Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 3 of the 2014 World Sports Series Championship here at GPVWC. My name's James Kirk, and welcome to the Principality. We're in Monaco, and we are being sponsored today by Spearhead Platoon. This is the first of 4 events here in Monaco. Throughout the next 2 weeks, we're here with the Porsches, and then of course we've got the 3 career ladder events next week. And as always, you can never really tell what on earth you're going to get here. We've been threatened with rain, we've been threatened with crashes, and quite frankly, it could be anybody's guess who's going to win here, because with Monaco, every single corner could lead to a pile-up, and although we don't really want that, kind of makes the whole reason Monaco is exciting what it is. So we're currently in qualifying, and to remind everyone here, we've got the Super Pole set up, so 1 lap and then you're done. And especially around Monaco, I mean, the time gaps we've seen here has gone from something like a 1:35.2 to all the way down to a 1 minute 40. Such is the differentiation of driver talent over open practice and indeed free practice. Currently leading is a stand-in at Aurora Motorsports, actually, Adrian Holm, who is currently leading the International Touring Cup Championship. And the Swede, I know, actually hates these cars. So to see him up there in P1 is actually a pretty solid effort from the Swede. Behind him is Jesper Torborg for Smile Power, currently P2 in a championship, and then P3 is occupied by Lewis Redshaw. Midnight's have yet another shake-up. So we saw Alex Cooper lead the championship after Bahrain. Matt Richards comes into his place. And now Tom Parker's left for this round. And Tom Parker, actually, after his antics last time in Spain, had a 10-place grid penalty as well. So perhaps that's the reason why he decided to not partake at this track. So strangely enough now, we've got Alex Cooper back in the car. And in fact, he's just gone on to provisional pole position on a 1:36.4 there. And in the other Midnight car is Lewis Redshaw, who I've been reliably informed by the man himself that he's only turned a few laps in this car. And to see him up in P5 at the moment, P6 actually is, but De Vos goes into P5 for triple 20. Not a bad effort from the Englishman. Not bad at all. So while we're letting these guys go round, we've got about 9.5 minutes left of qualifying. Let's take you through the standings. Now, unfortunately, there has been a bit of a mishap in the system, including the application of penalties. Big event from last week, actually, is if you watched the Spanish Sports Series, whenever on YouTube a couple of days ago, or live 2 weeks ago, you'll remember that we were quite sure that Agustin Canapino would get a penalty from race 1, which would strip him of his race win, after a last lap lunge on Jesper Torborg ended in absolute calamity, Torborg getting a puncture and finishing 3rd ultimately. Well, Agustin was hit with a 20-second time penalty, which dropped him all the way from 1st down to 10th. And so Ruud Heesterbeek, therefore, got the win, and that means that he leads the championship on 45 points. Not exactly as clear-cut as it would seem, though. Jesper Torborg was also hit in with a penalty, but in race 2, which means that we see him also on 45 points, but behind because he hasn't had a win yet. And then, of course, you've got Jordan Weeks there. Strong competitor, had a bit of a mishap in the ITC, but he's going to try and refocus here. He's also on 45 points. So currently we have a 3-way tie for the lead, which is insane. And let's not forget the efforts of Fran Lopez, of course, scoring his first race win at GPVWC last time out. He was absolutely immense at the Circuit de Catalunya. Do I think he's a title contender? Maybe not for this year. I don't think he's ready yet, but he's only 1 point behind those 3 guys in the lead. So currently the top 4 all separated by 1 point. And then we've got David Junt only 5 points behind Fran on 39. That doesn't make a difference to the penalties, though. Heesterbeek still has 45, Torborg still has 36, Weeks still has 27, Lopez still has 18, and Junt still has 9. So whether that'll make too much of a difference around Monaco is left to be seen. I mean, Torborg with 36 kilograms is still there in P3. We also got to remember the return of Chris Butcher is happening this event, and Butcher won the first race of the season all the way back in Bahrain. Did not partake in Spain 2 weeks ago, but he's back for Aurora and will be much needed as well because he gave their cause a healthy injection. Let's see, what else have we got going on? So, we've got about 6 and a bit minutes, or not, yeah, better part of 6 minutes, I should say, left. And, gosh, I can already see some people have not been able to complete a lap. Paul Watkins for TWR, Marius van Wyk for Deltec Racing. Got a few people on their hot lap as well. I wonder whether we can catch someone just about to start their lap. Or was William Tringus enters. Nice to see William back. And actually, nice to see Pavel Loknovsky back. We haven't seen him racing all season here at GPVWC. He was a great Super Cup contender. In fact, it was here where we got his only Super Cup race win of the year last year. So clearly thinking that he can do some good things in the Woods racing car. And I certainly hope to see him do well because the Estonian's always a real character around GPWC, always trying to do his best, and even though he hasn't had the time so much to sim race, it's good to see him back and try things out as well. So let's see, your top 10 at the moment in the better half of 5 minutes to go. Alex Cooper on pole, and what a nice return that would be to the series. I'm not sure whether he's staying permanently, but perhaps a pole position would be able to change his mind. Then we've got Holm Hamnet, who's driving for Drake Racing this time around, very much the mercenary driver. He did very, very well, getting a podium last time out because of Torborg's penalty. Actually, no, because of Canapino's penalty, I should say, in race 1. And looking pretty good there in the Drake Racing car in third. And Drake Racing have had an abysmal start to the season as well, so they will be wanting to get as many points from this event as they can. Then it's Torborg, Butcher, Palm, Cantonen into P7 for Drake Racing as well. So a much, much better day for the Vodball associated outfit there. And we've got Bracalo in 8th, Redshaw in 9th, which is still amazing, just a testament to how good a driver he is. And Yunt rounding out the top 10, who's in pretty good position at the moment. I must say, Dimitri Demulmi still looking pretty good as well for Deltec, currently in P13 is the Belgian. And yet to get off the board are Deltec, as I believe you may have lost pictures, unfortunately. Simrace TV is... Okay, cool. We're just trying to fix an issue, so do bear with us. But yes, if Dimitri Demulni, who's now fallen down to 14th, does that mean someone has catapulted up into the top 10? That's it must have been someone coming back, surely. Yeah, I think it was the boss coming back because the boss is in P7 for triple 20. Yeah, if Demulmis is able to keep in that P14 position and score some points for Deltec, that would be a relief for the South African outfit because they have been struggling at the start of the season. Jordan Weeks actually talking of one of the main competitors, one of the guys on 45 points. He's had an awful qualifying, currently languishing down in P19, and it goes without saying, qualifying at Monaco means nothing. If you don't get a good starting position, then the likelihood of you getting a good finishing position will rely almost entirely down to luck. With the career ladder cars, given their hitboxes and everything, you know, kind of you can squeeze 2 cars in. It's a bit easier to race because they're thinner. These Porsches, though, wide machines, and though the straights will look relatively wide, going around these tight, twisty corners, and especially with the handling they have as well, the guys who do well here are either going to be the guys who do well in qualifying or just have amazing racing talent, as we do see the guys with the amazing racing talent up the front of the grid. Pavel Loknovsky, unfortunately, the Estonian hasn't had a good qualifying either. He's down in P21, though we've got the likes of Sven de Vries now about to do his hot lap, and Sven has always been there or thereabouts in terms of the times, but he has had just awful luck and has not been able to score as many points as he could. So he's going to come around Raskas now, around Anthony Nodes, and he's going to come onto the start straight now, the orange, dark grey and white car. The Adonis Engineering, driven by Sven de Vries, coming into turn 1 now. Looking pretty decent at the moment. His teammate, Ruud Heesterbeek, actually, I believe, might just have finished his hot lap. Indeed, he has, and so Ruud Heesterbeek goes into P2, our championship leader, only to be deposed, though, by Eric Strana into P1 for Ice Cold Racing. A fantastic effort for Strana, and him and Lopez have been looking pretty supreme around here. This team, or at least this duo, have had great experience of the Porsches over in other leagues, and so putting it to absolute good effect here. Let's look to Sven de Vries, though, soon to be entering the tunnel section. It's been a decent lap so far from the American, and if I remember correctly, he did top the practice session, the free practice session. Actually, look, I've just seen Fran Lopez going to P21, and I was saying I'm not too convinced that Fran can maintain a good championship challenge. He had a good boost from his win, but I reckon that's going to be very much of a Maldonado situation. That win's going to be the majority of points he gets this season. Oh, Sven de Vries locking up heavily through the swimming pool section. And heading now into Larascas, into Anthony Odes once again. And let's see what Sven de Vries can do. I'm looking at the top 10 here because it's been looking like a pretty clean lap. And indeed it is. P2 for Sven de Vries. That's better. And that'll do him no end of good. Let's see. Is Canapino out? Right, Canapino. For Enterprise GP, had his win stripped of him for a last lap lunge in Spain. And let's go on board with him now on this Monaco circuit, going up the hill into Beau Rivage. And heading to the casino area now. One of the most difficult parts of the section, I would say, actually, because it's all about maintaining your speed, holding that throttle, and then really noticeable is the bump heading on down into the hotel section. A lot of the drivers have been complaining about whether it's been raised since last year. Not the case. It's just the cars of 2014 across both the career ladder and indeed the WSS series. They just handle different, and they're taking that bump much worse than 2013. Into the tunnel now with the Argentine. It's going to be flat out through here, and heading now down to chicane. Canapino taking it. Oh, going on two wheels there, and that would have lost him a heap of time. I was thinking he was going in a bit too hot, and that is certainly not going to have helped Canapino's cause. He was definitely in the top 10 in the free practice. Oh, and almost losing it going into the swimming pool area as well. Really raggedy lap from Canapino. Really tried to throw this Porsche around the corners. Let's see whether it can get him into the top 10. Considering that the top 10 is currently separated by 1.3 seconds, though, it's certainly a possibility. And indeed he does. P9 for Agustin Canapino. And I'm just wondering, is there anybody else who can match him? Simon Melhuish not qualified. Neither is Ryan Walker, Kyle Williams. In fact, yeah, the only person who is coming to across the line now is Menno Klont for Lusitania Racing Team. Where does the Dutchman go? P12 for Klont. Not too bad at all. But Eric Strana then is the man who takes Ice Cold Racing's first pole position of the year from Sven de Vries, Alex Cooper, Ruud Heesterbeek, and reserve driver Adrian Holm. And what a fantastic qualifying that was. Lots of action, lots of drama. But through it all, Strana... Oh, sorry. Through it all, Strana doing what he does best, really, and driving that car to the maximum. Very interesting to see here. Usually the spread between the entire field at a maximum has been, say, 2.5 seconds. Here, the gap from first to last, which was Tyrone Frith, well over 5 seconds. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's more like 8 seconds. So, it's a real driver's circuit, this is. And it's very much a real driver's car, is the Flat 6 Porsche. So, yeah. Some people obviously struggling, and others relishing the chance. And I do wonder what this will do to Alex Cooper's confidence, because it's just taken a battering this year, losing the midnight seat, not having a great start in WSS, having a very disappointing start compared to the hype that we saw for Cooper in the Super Cup. To see him come back here, and to see him take P3, no less, in an ultra-competitive field. I mean, Alex Cooper, who came second twice in the corresponding round last year, might be fancying his chances here. And he could very easily see himself catapult up the board. 45 points is not a lot of points to recuperate. You forget, maximum amount of points that you can gain as a driver in one of these race events is 50. 25 points for each round. If those top guys didn't score, and some Joe Bloggs scored 50 points, he could find himself leading the championship by the time that we head off to the Canadian Sports Series. And I'll be very happy to go back to Canada, actually, because it was left off of the 2013 calendar, and noticeably so as well. It'll be good to see a return to that. Okay, right, so firstly, due to all the technical issues, unfortunately it means that you're very much going to be seeing no overlays, unfortunately. It's going to be just the racing action. So I'm going to try and do my best to keep you up to date with what lap it is. Hopefully my maths doesn't fail me. And I'll try and keep you up to date with all the important positions, as always. But we do apologise for the technical difficulties. Unfortunately, it's something that can't be helped on the night. And yes, hopefully you will bear with us throughout this broadcast. So we've got 3 minutes remaining. And usually I take this time to look at who would easily, or who would win this race. Quite frankly, it's easy just for me to say Eric Strana. I mean, this guy has been looking immense, both in open practice, in free practice, and in qualifying here, he's got pole position. I would not be surprised if he gets the race win here. But do remember, in race 2, we have that reverse grid pole. And with 15 to 20 cars, one would imagine that the guys who are stuck up the front in race 1 are going to be very much stuck round the back. Though, as I said, Alex Cooper took second place in the first race in 2013. And although there was a lot of rain involved, allowing him to weave his way through the field, if he can do that again, that would just be absolutely immense. One of the best drives of the season, I would even say. Right then, so I don't believe we have any other penalties to worry about in terms of grid penalties. The only one was Tom Parker from last time out. He's got a 10th place. Though, for safety's sake, if you want to know what the penalties were like from last time, then we had, of course, Canapino and Tallborg, the two big hitters, with 20-second penalties. Walker with a 20-second penalty in race 2. I mean, McGlade had 20-second. Williams, Van Wyck, Williams again, Loknowski, Van Wyck, Van der Westhuizen. Loads of them. And actually, to be fair, the majority of them were from RF scans. So the way the penalty system works now is very much a 2-strike system if you didn't hear about it in a lot of other GPVWC media. So basically, RF scan, anti-cheating system, is there for a reason. 1 strike, and you get a 30-second penalty, like, for example, Williams, Van der Westhuizen, so on, so on, so on. However, if you get it a second time, and if you don't run it a second time, then that's an instant disqualification from the event. And believe you me, instant disqualification, much, much worse than a time penalty, because that means more points on your license and potentiality for a race ban. So 10 minutes to warm up. My call is Eric Strana. If you're interested in getting involved, giving me your thoughts on the races, and indeed if you want to ask the drivers any questions later on, then by all means tweet me at KirkyLife or at GPVWC, hashtag GPVW, let me try that again, hashtag GPVWC, hashtag WSS, and ask away. I'll be looking to get as many of your questions and thoughts in as possible. Right, so it seems that we're just going to wait for Menno, as the Lusitania driver has disconnected. And just a reminder from our race director for this evening, Chris Williamson, the need to be very careful is paramount. And I remember, I think it was a couple of years back, not last year, where there was, or it might have been last year actually, not sure, but basically there was a massive pile-up at turn 1 in the GP2 series. And it must have been about 70% of the grid involved. And the hilarious thing was the guys who cut the corner to avoid the incident got penalties for it, which is bonkers. I don't think we're going to do the same here. The drivers do have an option to ask the admins, look, I'm avoiding an incident, so please could you remove this time penalty. So hopefully we shouldn't have too many problems, but our other race director, and indeed our cameraman for this evening, Dave Castman, is also pointing out that if you do cut a corner, like Alonso and Perez in Formula 1 last time out, and it wasn't for avoiding an incident, but out of a mistake, then you are supposed to give the position back, as difficult as it may be around this tight street circuit. In 2012, Simon Cattell took one of the only non-Torrent Motorsport wins of that season. In 2013, Oscar Hardwick dominated race 1 from pole position, and Wupke Hoekstra in race 2 took what would prove to be his only race win for Pulse Racing. Who will win the 2 races here in 2014? As I say, it's Monaco. It's a lottery. And though it's a short circuit at 3.3 kilometers long, we've got 17 laps of very, very close racing action to get through before we reach the end. It's Eric Strana then for Ice Cold Racing. Swede leaves us on pole position. He's followed by Sven de Vries, the American for Adonis Engineering. Alex Cooper back in the midnight car. And behind him, championship leader, but only on race wins alone, Ruud Heesterbeek. Adrian Holm filling in for someone, I think it's Gary Lennon, is there in P5 with Harley Hamnet, P6, the mercenary for Drake Racing. Jesper Torberg is P7 for Smile Power, second in the championship, with Chris Butcher, who was leading the championship going out of Bahrain. Didn't take part last time in Spain, but he's back now in P8. Agustin Canapino, stripped of his race win in Spain, is in P9, and Martin Palm for Torrent rounds out the top 10. Bart de Vos is P11 for Triple 20, with Menno Klon's very impressive qualifying for Lusitania. In 13th is a pretty good qualifying for Ascari Kantonen as well, as Drake Racing looking to get some good points on the board. Indy Procalo lines up 14th for Triple 20, and Lewis Redshaw, after only a few laps of practice, P15. Very, very good stuff from the Englishman. David Junt is P16. For Smile Power, he's P5 in the championship, don't forget, with Benedictus Sinkevicius for Waters Automotive in P17. Mike Bell for Measure Racing is 18th with Dimitri Demurmeister, 19th for Deltec. Cameron Brewster, our secret squirrel, our podium man, our race 2 extravaganza person, is P20, and behind him is Matthew Warrington for Enterprise GP. Now Paul Joseph P22 for TWR, with Pedro Gomez P23 for Racing Team Stroton. Watch out for Fran Lopez, P24 for Ice Cold Racing, certainly our position, as is Jordan Weeks behind him in P25, but Weeks is suffering with 27 kilograms of weight ballast due to being third in the championship. Rob Mason is P26 for Cosmo Autosport, and then it's the 2 Woods boys, of Pavel Loknovsky, the Estonian, and Roy Schroeter, the Dutchman. Victor Silva is P29 in the other Lusitania for Riku Sarpia rounding out the top 30 for Measurement Racing. We then have the 2 TTS, Quinton Plain once again out qualifying Tyre and Frith. And then we have the non-qualifiers, Ryan Walker for Waters, Paul Watkins for TWR, Marius Van Wyck for Deltec, William Tringas for Racing Team Schroten, and the 2 Motorsport Safety Foundation cars, no doubt showing off their safety skills, P37 and P38 on the grid. Of note, SGP, who was present in Bahrain, not present again. As far as I'm aware, a replacement will be found for them for the next round in Canada, and we're looking forward to seeing who those replacements are. So, Melhuish and Williams line up at the back of the grid. At the front, though, lies Strana and De Vries. They look for the lights now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights here at the Principality. We are go, 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 and it's a decent start from Strana. Good start from Easterbeek as well. Harley Hamnet bogs down a bit in the background. Great start from Chris Butcher, I think. Eric Strana, though, going up, and Alex Cooper's round. It's not going to be a good momentum for him. And let's see, is there any other bits of drama? Actually, relatively clean, not bad at all. So, Alex Cooper dramas for him already, but it's Strana leading from the Adonis boys of De Vries and Easterbeek as Torborg. Canapino up to 6th, great start from the Argentine. Hamnet down to 7th, Butcher holds 8th, Palm up to 9th, and Ascari Kantonen into the top 10. Great start from him, and the Drake Racing boys looking pretty good as all. Butcher and Palm going side by side and down into the hotel section. Very tight. Oh, contact behind. That's Hamnet, Butcher, Palm involved, and there's Kantonen trying to go on the inside. It's absolutely bonkers as everyone's trying to shuffle their way through. I'm not sure who took the most damage there, actually, to be honest, but nevertheless, filing through the tunnel now. Out we come with Eric Strana into the chicane we go. And Strana and De Vries starting to pull out quite a nice lead, actually, on Ruud Easterbeek. The Dutchman's weight penalty of 45 kilograms apparently starting to show, and if it's anything to go by, I imagine the next 17 laps for the lead are probably going to be between these two. Holm is up in 4th for Aurora. Good start from him with Torborg, Canapino, Hamnet, Butcher, Palm, Kantonen, De Vos into P11. Menno Klont holding P12 with Bracalo, P13. Jordan Weeks up to P14. He's had a manic lap. Goodness me, from P25. Crazy stuff. And also Matthew Allington. Goodness me. Matthew Allington going side by side with Fran Lopez. And wow. Kudos to Weeks and Lopez, who started P24 and P25, gaining 11 and 9 positions in retrospect to each other. So that means Allington up into P16, Brewster into P17, Jans P18, Paul Joseph P19, and Mike Bell rounding out the top 20, but without a front bumper, I noticed. So could fall prey to Pedro Gomez for Racing Team Schroten and his teammate Riku Sarpia. Back up at the front though. Into the hotel section we go once again. Strana leading comfortably from De Vries. The gap has extended to 7/10 of a second here on lap 2 of 17. Behind, Ruud Easterbeek keeps close watch, but behind him, and at least to me, closing, is Adrian Holm, the Swede, definitely starting to close up. And a bit of a lock-up into Nouveau Chicane here, but he may hate these cars. I think that he's still going to be doing as good in them as in the touring cars, though, and certainly looking to take a podium here in what would be his debut here in the World Sports Series. And oh my word, almost flying into the back of Easterbeek around the swivel section. I see a couple of cars in the pits as well. We won't worry about them too much. We do already have retirements, unfortunately. Those retirements are Dimitri Dumoulis with suspension damage. Alex Cooper blew his engine, can you believe it? So, engine problems for Cooper. Perhaps that's what saw him spin in the first corner. Behind Easterbeek and Holm, Torborg is starting to extend this gap on Canapino. And Canapino himself is sort of holding station on Harley Hamnet, who has visible damage from that contact down at Hotel on lap 1. That said, though, Hamnet's been looking stronger around Monaco, so I'd imagine these two are going to battle pretty soon. Palm is up into P8, and what's happened to Butcher? Butcher down to P9. Oh, Kantonen appears to be missing his front bumper, so there's been troubles between those two, I imagine. And look at Bart de Vos there onto the back of the action as well, and already you can see the gap behind. And look at Menno Klont jumping over the bump in the background. Great stuff from the Dutchman. But wow, already lap traffic. This is going to be bonkers. But yeah, Bart the Boss will be looking to capitalise all things. And where has Matthew Allington gone? Oh dear. Matthew Allington into P31 in the pits, so he's had troubles. I noticed he dropped from outside the P16 area. But yeah, Bart the Boss, surprisingly actually, Cantonen's putting away from Butcher once again. So I do wonder whether Butcher... Oh yeah, Butcher's got a sizable dent on the front of that Aurora car, no doubt. And already we've got carnage. It's only lap 3 of 17 here. And already people are running into lots of trouble. Gap at the front has extended to 1 second. We shouldn't need to worry about that too much. And East Speak Holmes seems to be going side by side as well. And what's this? Oh no, that's a back marker, apologies. I think we should go back to the battle between Butcher and the Boss, because this is looking actually pretty close. Butcher seems to be really struggling all of a sudden in these cars. And the Voss for triple 20, currently the leader of the triple 20s, will be looking to get some decent laps under his belt, you know, get into the groove. That's the only thing you can really do around Monaco, I guess. But interestingly enough, I think Bart de Vos has lost a bit of confidence just in racecraft generally, because in the ITC, he definitely had a chance to win race 3 at Phuket Kohei, but was very tame, very passive. And I wonder whether he's had a few words from team manager Ilya Picalo about that, because if he wants to move up into the top 10 as when the Woods gets out of the way there, I believe that's Roy Schroeter. Yeah, you got to be definite around Monaco. You got to be straight in, very much like Perez was in 2013 as we lost Jordan Weeks, unfortunately. So Jordan Weeks out of this race already as well. They've had another DNF in the form of Quinton Plain, so dropping like flies already, 4 out on lap 4 of 17. But yeah, it's just something's happened to the Boss, and I'm not sure why, but I love those Perez style moves. If you're going to overtake around Monaco, then do it. Don't lumber about. Mind you, I mean, I would not like to be racing around this track at all. Far too scared. And is that... no. Let's keep with Canton and... Not Canton, sorry, Butcher and DeVos, sorry. Currently P10 and P11. Perhaps here on lap 5 of 17 now, these two go on to. We can give you a rundown in the order. So it's Stranen now leading by 1.1 seconds from De Vries, Heesterbeek, Holm, Torborg, Canapino, Hamnet, Palm, Cantonen, Butcher and DeVos here on your screens with Clont, Lopez, Bracalo and Cameron Brewster once again putting his car in that point-paying position. And, of course, we have that 50-20 reverse grid. That guarantees him a great start for race 2. All he has to do is keep it out the wall. And what's his gap back? Okay, so only a 1 second gap back from Davy Johns, but he's got a lot of cars ahead of him as well to deal with, so let's perhaps go back to this battle. Cameron Brewster being chased by Davy Johns. You can see ahead of him there the likes of Bracalo, Clont, Lopez there as well, trying to escape. It's actually, no, let's go back to Butcher and DeVos. Butcher and DeVos. DeVos is going side by side with Butcher, and DeVos is through. And oh, Cantonen's hit the wall into the Nouvelle Chicane. And DeVos say thank you very much, Root, says P10. Cantonen, has he got a puncture, I wonder? He's gone now ahead, just ahead of Menno Clont. So Fran Lopez goes through into P11, and no, I think Cantonen is okay. But you just see what I mean. One little mistake, and suddenly you can lose all of those positions you've worked so hard to gain. Right, Hamnet Canapino. I did say this was going to launch itself off in a bit, and into turn 1 we go. Look at Martin Palm there in the background. Oh, no. Oh, that's contact, absolutely, between Martin Palm and Harley Hamnet, and what was looking like a very good battle. And in fact, Martin Palm lost his front bumper going into Anthony Nodes there, and what a real shame. Oh, yeah, we've lost the boss as well. Oh, right, okay, so Palm... Oh, God. Yeah, so Palm rejoins. Takes out... Oh, dearie me. You know, I champion Palm. Out of all the drives on this field, I can hear another person crashing out somewhere. He's one of those guys who you always feel safe driving and battling with. I mean, I've driven alongside him in the Touring Car Championship, whether it be GRC or the ITC. Never felt any sense of trouble with him. And in 2 corners, he's just had an absolute nightmare, taking out Hamnet and taking out DeVos, and out of the race he goes. Torrent clearly not enjoying Monaco so far. Both of their drivers now out. So what this means is we have Strana leading from De Vries, Heasterbeek, Holm, Talborg, Canapino. Hamnet, despite all that, is actually still up into P7, but now 6 seconds off the back of Canapino. Butcher back up to P8. Oh yeah, and actually talking of Lopez, Lopez has caught up to Butcher, hand over fist, and you can see how much faster the Spaniard is. These two know each other well from their multiple encounters in multiple leagues, and I do wonder whether Butcher is going to think about letting his younger Spanish friend through here. Heading up into turn 1 into Saint-Devoux. Nothing doing. Nothing doing. Fran Lopez swerving around, trying every which way to get past Butcher, but you just have to look at the example set by Heikki Kovalainen in the 2012 Formula 1 season. All you have to do is put your car in the right place, and no matter how fast the guy behind you is, and Fran Lopez dives through on the inside of Casino. If he's able to hold it going through into the hotel section, yes he does. What a wonderful and opportunistic move that was. And now Butcher falls back into the hands of Ascari Canton, and he may be missing his front bumper, but the Finn is looking much stronger than Butcher. Behind him, Menno Plot now is into P11, Riccardo into P12, pardon me, Brewster into P13, Yunt into P14, and Paul Joseph, I believe at the current moment, will be actually scoring TWR's first point of the season, which is insane. As Fran Lopez into the Nouveau chicane. That was a corner cut, I'm sure of it. But the thing is that he didn't overtake any cars. There's only going to be a few finite times that you're going to be able to do that, Fran. Keeping my eye on you. But meanwhile, let's keep an eye on this battle. Oh! Butcher and Canton, he's gone round. And Butcher can't do anything. Now he can. Back into the race he comes. But he's been siphoned all the way down. Where has he come out? Goodness me. Oh, wow. Surprisingly, he's only come out P14. Such is the extent. Wow, so many of the field are lapped down already. Absolutely crazy times. So Butcher's still in the points. But now, this battle has been simmering for the 8 laps or so that we've been going of this race. But Heasterbeek is now under close observation from Swede Adrian Holm. Although, if you ask me, the gap between the two of them has increased further on this lap. I do wonder whether Holm is trying to see what sectors he can outclass Heasterbeek in. As you said, a very, very good job from Holm so far. He hates these cars, but he gets on with it. That's always what he's done. And interestingly enough, actually, little fun fact about Holm in the ITC. So he was driving rear-wheel drive, the BMW, in the 2013/14 season. Doesn't like rear-wheel drive much in general, and that is why THR have moved to the Chevrolet Cruze for this year. But the Porsches are, I've talked to him personally about this, the Porsches are a thing of hatred, as there is another crash further up the road. I wonder who that is. Let's see, I see, wow. I would say Heasterbeek and Holm is looking interesting, but let's look at the battle down here from P10, P11, P12. Ilya Bracalo has been in a bit of trouble. And look at this, goodness me, there's about 6 cars going in formation here, and actually in and amongst this is the Waters car of Benedictus Incubitius? No, perhaps Ryan Walker? Yes, it is Walker. So you've got Walker and also Paul Watkins in there as well, trying to unlap themselves, and they're just unable to do so simply because of all the craziness going on. Going back up here though, let's look at Brewster, Bracalo, Yunt, and indeed Butcher trying to catch up again. These the battle here is pretty much for, or is going to decide the front 4 rows or so of the grid of race 2. And Brewster, ever the sneaky squirrels, Butcher almost mounted the hotel downhill section there. But yeah, Brewster has been a real surprise of the championship, a real underdog of the series. He's just, typical. As soon as I looked at those other battles, Holmes passed Rude, and let's see how he did that then. So, oh wow, so he got him on the, wow, he just got him on the inside of the back, didn't he? Lovely move from Holm, and so the Swede is now onto the podium. What can Easterbeek do to retaliate though? Nothing at the moment, as you can hear, crashes going all over the place. But I think Holm might be able to stream away now. Easterbeek, as we forget, Easterbeek is suffering with 45 kilograms worth of weight penalty as championship leader. And so that would ultimately be why he is suffering so much, and ultimately why Holm is now past him here it was on lap 9 of 17. It is now lap 10 of 17 for the front runners. Over halfway through your retirement so far. Dimitri Demulmister, Alex Cooper, Quinton Plain, Jordan Weeks, William Tringus, Martin Palm, and Bart DeVos. Point scorers so far are Strana, who now leads by 1.8 seconds from the race. Home, just ahead of Easterby, Torvald, Canapino, Hamlet, Lopez, Canton, Plot, Brewster, Ricardo, Yunt, Butcher, and Joseph. And is that rain? Did I just spot a catch of rain? It's raining! I knew it! I knew it! It's going to happen! We're not sure how much rain we're going to get here, but it has happened. We have rain in Monaco. And let's see, how much do we have going on to where's live races? If you want to keep up with the action effectively and see how the weather's affecting everything, please, by all means, go to GPVWC.com, go on to our live races segment, and I can tell you here, once it's all buffered, 4% wetness. It's not going to bring people onto the wet tyre. About 20% wetness is what we're going to be expecting, but the drivers are going to be really tested here now. Clearly raining on some parts of the circuit. Wow, we have another couple of retirements. Ryan Walker out for Waters Automotive, and Pedro Gomez out for Racing Team Stroke. He was part of the chasing pack of the points, but there's been no change to the points as it stands. Things have really spread out now, actually, because of this rain. Let's have a little look back to the battle in the midfield then. Brewster, Picalo, and Yunt, P11, P12, and P13. Brewster's been able to escape the clutches of Bracalo for the moment, but Bracalo is yet to escape the clutches of Yunt. And don't forget Chris Butcher there in the background as well, P14. And oh, whoa! It was circus driving from Bracalo there. Goodness me, I don't know what he clipped. And oh, look, here comes Butcher! Yunt's wrong-footed into Casino, and Butcher dives through to take P13. Very good move from the Englishman. And next on his list will be Ilya Bracalo, the Croatian. On the rain front, it is now stopped raining across the entire circuit, but is still slightly wet offline. So, a little bit of a drizzle, a little bit of a warning for our drivers that rain can happen. And currently, Bracalo just about holding on. Actually, look at Brewster catching up onto the back of Clont there as well. Let's look at this now. We're going to be going into the back soon. And Brewster on a real charge here, looking to take top 10 from Menno Clontes. There's another crash ahead of us. I'm not sure who it is, though. I think I might be right in saying that this would be Lusitania's first point score of the year as well, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see. As I say, I wish I had the full point standings, but unfortunately lots of technical failures here on GPVWC this week, so we'll update you next round, I'm sure. That lead has come down. Thank you very much, Dave. Eric Strana was leading by 1.8 seconds about 3 laps ago. The gap has come down to 0.5 of a second, and it's only lap 12 of 17 here. So, we've seen De Vries do a similar thing in Super Cup. He sort of holds back, he saves his tyres, he conserves for a bit, and then he goes all out in the last section of the race. And De Vries right on the back of Eric Strana at the moment. Really is hassling him. Heading through to back now. and to the swim pool. But the problem is I know Sven de Vries has the guile to attack Strana at Monaco, but the question is whether Strana will let de Vries attack at all. The Swede himself is a very highly acclaimed defensive driver, learns well from those around him, at least Mike Bell, who's part of his friend group. And heading on to lap 13 of 17 here. 4 laps remaining. 5 laps remaining, sorry. Through Saint-Devo we go. De Vries holding onto the back of Strana. The gap now 3/10 between the Swede and the American, heading through into Casino. And you see De Vries has trying almost he's almost trying to pressure Strana into a mistake, and I know that sounds silly, but by having a car behind you, you are more inclined to make a mistake. It's just a natural occurrence unless you are a very, very cool driver. And to be fair, a very, very cool driver Strana usually is. It's not to say that he hasn't had his feathers ruffled before, but he is going to a mistake as there is a change down there, and that's Bracalo. Yes, it is Bracalo. He's spun at turn 1. He's not out of the points. He's still in P15 due to the fact that Mike Bell is so far behind in P16. This allowed Paul Joseph up into P14, David Yunt up into P13, Chris Butcher up into P12, and the lifeline finally for Cameron Brewster, who can now fully focus on Menno Klont. Back up to the front though, Sven de Vries trying to close down Eric Strana. The gap has actually been extended this lap to 0.5 of a second again, and there's another change. And oh, Butcher, what happened to him? Oh, Butcher, he lost it on the oh dear, he lost it coming down the hotel section, and he is now fully out of the points. He could still get a reverse group opposition reversing the track. That is pretty dangerous. But Butcher is going to lose yet more positions here to Silver, Melhuish, not Williams though. So Butcher comes out P19, and his chances of getting reverse grid pole slightly slipping away now, unfortunately. Meanwhile, I think Strana's doing pretty well here, responding stupidly well to De Vries' advances, and on lap 14 of 17 here, extending the gap once again to 1 second. I do wonder whether De Vries caught up during that wet weather period, and Strana was just caught out by it slightly. Now he's reopening the lead. Very much potentially what happened, and I think it is very much the case. Meanwhile, Home is now a clear 2 seconds ahead of Heasterbeek in 4th. Torborg 5th, Canapino in 6th, and oh dear me, that was one of the Drake Racing cars of Harley Hamnet. Yes, it is. Harley Hamnet was right on the back of Canapino once again, but he absolutely clobbered his way into Portier. And what that has done is it made him fall behind Canapino a little bit more, but the Australian showing some good speed here. And remember, these two are going to be the fastest guys who will not have a weight penalty in the reverse grid race, and that could very well prove crucial in that reverse grid. Fran Lopez still in P8. He's missing his front bumper, but a great recovery considering that he started in P24. Cantonen P9, Klont P10, Brewster, who is P11, falling away from Klont a bit now. Yunt into P12, Joseph P13. What on earth happened there? Oh, who found the order there? Oh, it must be Bracalo, surely. Oh, Bracalo's down to P20. What a shame. He must have pitted or something. So, Yunt 12, Joseph 13th, Bell up into 14th for Measure Racing, and Watkins. It's going to be a double points finish for TWR at this rate. Excellent stuff. And Victor Silva miles behind, and with Simon Melhuish for company as well. The gap, wow, look at that gap extending now. 2.3 seconds the gap between Strana and De Vries on lap 15 of 17 here. Strana doing an excellent job in opening up that gap again. I don't think we need to have... Oh, Menno Klont! Oh, dearie me, Menno Klont. He lost it into Saint-Devo. And so Cameron Brewster now up into the top 10. And well, you just got to look at how big the gap is there. Menno Klont, he lost it of his own accord. And he's still in P11. So the Dutchman doing well. But he's got to be wary because Yunt is only a few seconds behind. And really, all the battles have spread out. Let's give a little bit of a screen time to the guys just outside the points paying position. Victor Silva and Simon Melhuish. Paul Watkins ahead of them, and 9 seconds ahead of them at that, is guaranteed a reverse grid pole position, or a good reverse grid position, I should say, in race 2. And actually, what happened to Mike Bell? He's just gone past Mike Bell, so Mike Bell now in that position. But Victor Silva and Simon Melhuish battling over P16 here. It could mean the difference between pole position and ultimately P17 in race 2. Heading through the tunnel section, we go with these two. Lap 15 of 17. And they're just sort of staying line astern. I wonder whether Melhuish is going to take a little dive into the Nouveau chicane. Victor Silva defends nicely. And we head out of the chicane once again with Melhuish and Silva. Still going line astern, unfortunately, so not really fireworks being set off by those two. Here's something which might cause fireworks. Back up in P6. Agustin Canapino has Harley Hamnet for company once again. Hamnet this time around not clubbering the entrance of Portier. And the Australian looking to get a very healthy 10 points on the board as we see Lewis Redshaw retire, unfortunately. A real shame for the Englishman who had a decent qualifying. But yeah, this is looking much better for Drake. Much better. P7 for Hamnet, P9 for Kantonen. Fingers crossed they can stay in those positions for the moment. Hamnet will no doubt want more though. His highest finish of the year so far, by default, P3 in Spain after Canapino's time penalty and removal of race win. Heading on to lap. Wow, really? Final lap. Didn't even notice that. Final lap then. So Hamnet's only got 1 lap to make this work. And knowing how tight the circuit is, unless Canapino makes a mistake, I imagine this would be it for him. So he top 10 at the moment, barring any strange occurrences. Strana, De Vries, Holm, Heasterbeek, Torbor, Canapino, Hamnet, Lopez, Kantonen and Brewster. Kantonen and Brewster only just heading on to the final lap of the race now. Let's see, let's go with Canapino. Canapino is just about holding on from Hamnet into the hotel section now. Hamnet seems stronger around this. No, Canapino is getting a good entrance into Portier here. I'm lined up for a good run out the tunnel. And he seems to be holding Hamnet at bay nicely now. Let's look to the leader then. Pole position. And a decent one of that too. Ice cold. One last time out with Lopez. But here in Monaco, Strana is the master. He rounds Anthony knows now. And it is Eric Strana for Ice Cold Racing. Their second consecutive win in a Rosa team. Excellent job from the Swede. Ultimately coming in 4 seconds behind. Sven de Vries will be delighted with P2. Finally, his championship charge can begin. Adrian Holm, fantastic effort from the other Swede. So 2 Swedes on the podium. It's quite unusual. Holm in P3. Ruud Heasterbeek, despite all that weight penalty, P4 still. Great job from the Dutchman there. Jesper Torborg, P5. Canapino comes home P6. Harley Hamnet P7. Lopez coming around the final corner now. Great effort from P24 on the grid. Flying through to P8. Wonderful job from the young Spaniard. Ascari Kantonen. Oh, Kantonen's just about defending off Brewster here into the final corner. We go with these two now. Kantonen, can he hold on to P7? Oh, Brewster loses it. But he won't lose too much. Kantonen P9. Brewster, another good result for the Englishman. P10. Menno Cont comes home P11, just ahead of David Junt actually in P12. TWR are off the board. Fantastic job from both Paul Joseph and Paul Watkins. P13 for Joseph, P14 for Watkins, and Mike Bell will come home to secure the final point for Miseric Racing. The potential guys in with a chance of pole position for the next round then are Bell in P15, Melhuish, Silva, Williams, Butcher, who's one to look out for, and Benedictus Sinkevicius for Waters Automotive. Yeah, Dave Carl-Smith very rightly saying there is nothing more scary than the potentiality of a Bell train here at Monaco. The Englishman is well known for his defensive ability, sometimes running that ability over, or rather I should say, to the very limits. Whether it's over or under the limit is to be debated on the occasion. But yeah, if Bell gets pole position, well, even so, Bell will be right up the front there, and if I would not rule him out of a podium. I would not rule him out with a chance to get a podium here for Majuric at all. Rightio then. Let's find out who is going to be on pole position then. First of all, I'm going to take a quick drink because my throat is pretty dry actually. Lovely. Oh, that was needed. Ah, right. Excuse me. Right. Random generator time. Let's see who's on pole position for race 2, Monaco. Whoopke Hoekstra won it from that position last time out. And the reverse grid number is 17. Which means that Victor Silva is on pole position. And if I'm not mistaken, the second time that he's been on a reverse grid pole position. Because I think he was on pole position last time out in Spain. I say thank you for Dave for keeping me company. Very interesting prospect as Motorsport Safety Foundation, who usually want to start at the back, now have to start right at the front. Simon Melchiwish will be on the front row, and that means that Mike Bell will be in P3. That's scary. That is a very scary proposition. I'll have to see whether Victor Silva... I'm sure Victor Silva was on pole position in a reverse grid in WSS. I'm sure of it. It might have been Former Challenge, I don't know. But anyway. Silva, Melchiwish, Bell. Oh, I've got a little message through. I wonder if this is someone confirming. Okay. Let me try and sort something. Do bear with me, everyone. I'm just trying to get something sorted out behind the scenes. So yeah, I think, genuinely, if Mike Bell gets a good enough start, then we could be in for a very, very interesting race 2. And I'm not saying interesting as in battling and technical-wise interesting. I'm thinking there will definitely be a crash at some point during that race interesting. And also, oh yes, remember, the top 5 of race 1 are now going to get the weight penalty. So Strana with 45, De Vries with 36, Holm with 27, Heasterbeek with 18, and Torborg with 9 kilograms of penalty weight. And Strana realising the penalty that comes with his win. We're sorry, but we're just so evil that we like punishing winners. That bad. Of course, this means that the, well, it's a lottery. As I say, you can never predict these things. I was lucky to predict that Strana got the race win out of it, but that's what you get for getting pole position. Free air in front of you. The midfield, you could throw potentially 20 names in a hat and pull them all out, and you'll probably have your point scorers there. Melchiwish clearly wants to start at the back. And, oh, that's a shame as well, because he can't start at the back now, because he can't change his setup. So, he's going to have to start from P2, is the Englishman. Cameraman extraordinaire. And funnily enough, Torrent Motorsport team principal as well. His outfit have an awful, awful day so far. Really awful. Is this true? Is he allowed to do that? Really? Wow. Okay. So apparently Simon Melhuish is actually going to start from the back of the grid through his choice. Instead of P2? Is he sure? Is he really sure that he wants to start there? Motorsport Safety Foundation, if I can remember correctly, have not scored a single point this year. I mean, I know they're called Motorsport Safety Foundation, but I thought the whole goal was to score points safely. And from P2, he would be able to score points safely. In fact, it'd be probably one of the safest wins in WSS history if he did. Only Simon Melhuish knows why he wants to... I think Williams, Carl Williams, his teammate, saying the correct, possibly what was going through his brain. Where's the challenge in starting P2? Fair point, I guess. And it would be a fair point if he finishes P15. And so that means that Bell now starts on the front row. And I can almost hear the collective groans from all of you out there realising what's going to come next. I am predicting a crash of massive proportions. Not a red flag crash. But someone's going to get annoyed. Either that or Mike Bell's going to go beyond the limit. I can just see it happening. We hope it won't. We hope it'll be nice and clean. I think Mr. Commentator's best shutting up, don't you? Best to leave the curse of the commentator away from this lovely WSS. I tell you what, one thing which we haven't had is a driver swearing and getting himself disqualified in race. Because we had that last year, and that wasn't nice. This year, most people have been nice to each other. I think more people have been hateful to the circuit than the other drivers, to be honest. And talking about strange things as well. Very strange things. Ah, Ben Hackerson, shout out to you. Silver could win this because of Bell. That's a very fair shout, I think. But it's all dependent on whether Silver gets a good start. And indeed, what the starts of the guys behind Bell and Silver are like also. And indeed on Bell himself. Will he spin? Will he get a good start? Will he not get a good start? Will he be over-aggressive? Who knows? I don't. It's no good asking me. I can't see into the future. Right, let's see whether we've got any notifications through. Let's see, GPVWC. So, Andreas Waters asked 41 minutes ago, useful me answering it now, do you think the guys choosing not to qualify will benefit from this conservative strategy call? Well, I think you saw, Andreas, actually, that Simon Melhuish had the opportunity to start P2. And I'm pretty sure any other driver on the grid, maybe minus Kyle Williams, would love to start P2. Because ultimately that's, unless you seriously mess it up, a guaranteed 20 points. And as I say, considering that the leader of the championship, or sorry, the guy with the most points, or the guys, I should rather say, who had the most points in the championship going into Monaco were on 45 points. I mean, that's almost halving their lead if they didn't score any points. But anyway, off onto the formation lap we go. It's Victor Silva for Lusitania Racing off on pole position with Mike Bell promoted to P2 and everyone else below him promoted up as well, due to Simon Melhuish choosing not to start at the front. We'll see whether that was a good call. The two TWR cars of Watkins and Joseph, therefore, P3 and P4, a real chance to get their challenge in WSF off to a much better start, because they have had a torrid season so far, really not on the pace at all. David Junt for Smart Powers and P5 with Menno Klont P6, so potentially a very, very good opportunity here for Lusitania. Cameron Brewster, the sneaky squirrel, will start P7. Don't count him out for a podium. Ascari Canton starts P8 for Drag Racing, with Fran Lopez P9 for Ice Cold. Harley Hamlet, the other Drag Racing car, rounds out the top 10 then, with Augustin Canapino, P11 for Enterprise. Jesper Tolborg with 9 kilos of penalty weight starts P12 for Smile. Ruud Heesterbeek with 18 is 13th for Adonis Engineering. Holm with 27 is P14 for Aurora. Sven de Vries with 36 is P15 for Adonis. And Eric Strana, our race 1 winner, starts P16 with the full 45 kilograms of ballast. I wonder how that will affect his race. Chris Butcher, I did say 17th and 16th would be the difference between pole position, and here it is in effect. Butcher, he could have won this race, but he starts P17. Benedictus Sinkevicius P18. Ilya Bracalo for Triple 20 P19. Riku Sarpia starts P20 for Mezurek Racing, with Pavel Loknovsky P21 for Woods Racing. Matthew Allington starts P22 for Enterprise GP, with Rob Mason P29 for Cosmo. Roy Schroten starts P24 for Woods, with Tyron Frith starting from pit lane. Interesting choice. So that means that Lewis Redshaw starts P25 for Midnight. Marius Van Wyck starts P26 for Deltec, with Brian Walker P27 for Waters. Bart DeVos starts P28 for Triple 20, with Martin Parr P29 for Torrent. His teammate behind him, Jordan Weeks, rounds out the top 30 with Quinton Plain in P31, and Alex Cooper, after blowing his engine at the first corner, starts P32. And then of course we've got the Motorsport Safety Foundation cars, both of them starting at the back once again, P34. 3 even, I should say, Simon Melhuish, and P34 for Kyle Williams. No William Trengus, unfortunately. He's left the game, and I believe Pedro Gomez has also left the game, so both Racing Team Schrotens out. Which is a shame to see. Who knows what is going through all these drivers' minds? Who knows who is going to win this race? I don't, and that is why I love Monaco. Nobody knows. The drivers line up in their grid positions now, and we now wait for the 5 lights to come on. It's Silver v Bell. What can the TWRs do? What can David Junt do? He came into this round P5 in the championship. We have 5 lights, and here at the Principality we are go once again. And it is a decent start from Silver. It's also a decent start from David Junt. He's already up into P2, is Junt. He's won a race this season already, and through to P2. Oh, there's a crash behind there though. There's a crash behind there. And who's in grief? I can't see. For the life of me, I cannot see. Who is that out? That is Benedictus Sinkevicius out. And oh, dearie me, Chris Butcher in grief there as well. So what does this mean? Silver leads from David Junt. And David Junt is all over the back of Silver. And actually, interesting point that I completely forgot to mention. For the first 4 races of the season, there were 4 different winners. Could we have the potentiality to end that with David Junt winning here? Mike Bell is P3 though. Can he hold on to a podium? Paul Watkins is P4. Joseph P5. Brewster up into 6. Canapino into 7th under. Heavy attack from Canton. And let's keep an eye on these two now. Fran Lopez also behind there in P9. Oh, heading into the new motor. Okay, Canton's going to try around the outside. Oh, he squeezes Canapino. Oh, wow. That was a bit rude, and Cantonen barges his way through into P7, Canapino into P8, and Lopez P9, Easterby P10, Comp P11, Ricardo into P12, Martin Palm into P13, he's having a laugh, Ryan Walker P14, Redshaw P15, and Matthew Allen, look at the battle behind here as well, Matthew Allington's missing his front bumper, but so are about half the grid behind him as well, Allington, De Vos, De Vries, who's had an awful start, Weeks, Cooper and Strada in there as well. It's absolutely manic at the back here, and this is just outside the points. Interestingly, where did Lewis Redshaw start? He was in the 30s, wasn't he? And he's into the point already. Meanwhile, back up the front though, Victor Silva is defending heavily. No, I think this is more important, Dave, unfortunately. P5, really? Oh, what happened to Canapino? Oh, that's a disconnection, surely. What is happening to Canapino? That's a disconnection. Canapino out of the race with a disconnection. David Junt, though, right on the back of Victor Silva. And trying his damnedest to get past as well. And what this is doing is this is letting Mike Bell catch up into the back. And, oh, Paul Watkins clobbering Portier there again. He's got to be careful. This is good points here for TWR for Paul Watkins. Cantonen then up into P5 for Drake Racing. Brewster P6, Lopez P7, he used to be P8. Joseph P9, Mon P10, Ricardo in 11. Oh, is that Lopez? Oh, Lopez had a bit of trouble there, and he's got him back going there. P7, Palm P12, Walker P13, Redshaw P14, and Matthew Arrington, because of his teammate going out, is now to the point where he has got about half the field within 5 seconds of him. And he is going to be pretty scared, I'd imagine, as a driver. But look at this, look at Victor Silva. He is holding on for dear might. How long he can hold out, though, is unknown. Let's see what he's going into Saint-Deveau once again. Yes, but Tallborg out. Let's have a look at the penalty list, actually. Oh my word, that is a lot of penalties. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 8. Zinke Vicious, Hamden, Van Wyck, Schroten, Tallborg, Butcher, Frith, and Canapino all out in the space of 1 lap. And ultimately, the race director not calling the red flag though, so we should be all good to go still. Victor Silva though, oh, look how defensive Victor's going. And actually, Bell, mind you, we're talking about a Bell train occurring. Bell has been able to lead Paul Watkins for dust at present. Absolute dust. And he is just lynched onto the back of this battle between Yunt and Silva. One mistake from either guys in front, they could be leading this race very easily. Heading down to the Nouveau Chicane. Victor Silva. Portuguese driver. On the defence once again. Behind him, you can see the huge battle between Cantonen, Lopez, who's gone ahead of Brewster, Heasterbeek, Joseph, Bracalo into P10, and then behind him, Clont and Palm and Walker, and Redshaw and Allington, who's been able to pull a little gap on Bart the Boss. So Matthew Allington, a little world of his own in that little 1-point position. And yet again, back up at the front, David Junt trying to find every which way. Is that another retirement? We have a 9th retirement already as well. Pavel Loknovsky out as well. So the return for the Estonian, not like it wanted to be, unfortunately. And out he goes of this race. Lap 4 of 17 we are on. Victor Silva, who has been leading from pole position for 4 laps, and well at that, leads just about from the Swiss driver, David Junt, and the Englishman, Mike Bell, most acclaimed for his defensive driving, but who may have to get his elbows out. David Junt looking on the inside of Hotel, but not being able to do anything. And this is one of the reasons why I don't think Monaco should be on many calendars, because, as I said before, in the case of Kovalainen, you put your car in the right place, nobody can overtake you, especially in these wide Porsches. And Victor Silva doing a stand-up job here for the moment. Can you imagine Lusitania taking a race win? I can't. But it could be a very real possibility by the end of this race. I'm just wondering though, Victor Silva is nowhere near as fast as the guys behind him. And it may not be a Bell train, but it may very well soon be a Silva train. As that was a crash. Who was crashing there? Oh, I see Cantonen right on the back of Paul Watkins. Perhaps this battle will provide a bit more entertainment. Oh, Silva, yep. And let's see, going into Raskas. Oh, Silva, he's trying to defend it ever so well. Oh, he's on the inside. Heading into Anthony Noza. Look at the train we have going now behind Victor Silva, just because this guy is not relinquishing the lead. crossing the line now. It's Silva, Yunt, Bell, Watkins, Canton and Lopez, Easterbeek, and just Easterbeek. Those 8 are within 4 seconds of each other. 4 seconds for 8 drivers. As I say, if a crash doesn't happen sooner or later, I will be shocked. I will be shocked. Plain and simple. Heading into hotel. I mean, look at this. This is just manic. Paul Watkins defending off Ascari Cantonen. And look at Fran Lopez there. He's going to try and go on the inside of 2 of them. Oh, Fran Lopez. You're not going to be able to do that, sir. And he's side by side with Cantonen now, heading into Portier. Oh, no, that's a bit aggressive, Fran. I'm sorry. And rightly crashing into the exit of Portier. Cantonen on the inside of tunnel. And Cantonen dives back through. A crash in tunnel would be the worst situation. But Fran Lopez is... Oh, dearie, dearie, dearie me. Oh, dearie me. Keep your handbags together, gentlemen. Oh, dearie me. Guys, come on. And look at Brewster. Brewster on the inside now of Cantonen. Is he going to dive through? No, he isn't. And Lopez getting a little bit raffled, I think. So it's Cantonen leading from Brewster, Easterbeek, and Lopez in this battle. Matthew Allington now, and I'm pretty sure I saw DeVos out as well. Yeah, so Allington and DeVos out. Weeks out as well. They're dropping like flies. But nevertheless, this battle at the front still goes on. Canton starting to pull away from Brewster. Brewster starting to pull away from Easterbeek. Easterbeek starting to pull away from Lopez. So hopefully that should calm things down. Behind them though, Bracalo. Now thrust into P9. Oh, what a good time to go to him. Bracalo spins out of Sandovo once again, and that is him out as well. He just calls it a day straight there. Sammy's Martin Palm up into P9. Paul Joseph, who's fallen down the order quite dramatically, back up into P10. Menno Klont into P11. Lewis Redshaw into the points. He's in P12. Walker, P13. Oh, Ruud Easterbeek. Ruud Easterbeek side by side with Fran Lopez into the hotel section. Ruud Easterbeek just about defending off Fran, but Fran clearly the faster driver, as I say. Just to round out the point scorers. Alex Cooper, 14th. Strana into 15th, though. That can be quite critical for Ice Colt. Round tunnel we go. And into the Nouveau chicane we go with Ruud Easterbeek. And oh, look at Paul Watkins. He's taken that awfully. Awfully as Paul Watkins taking the Nouveau chicane. And he is just about holding on to P4 here is the old man. The elevation in quality of this field has seen Paul Watkins drop from a top 10 consistent driver to a driver who's lucky to get in the points, and he is defending his boots off to try and stay ahead of these gaggling geese behind him, and the stand-up job he is doing as well behind Watkins. I mean, look at... Oh, Easterbeek on the outside of Brewster. Getting from the outside of Sandovo. Lovely stuff from Easterbeek. Great stuff, and the Dutchman is up into P6, and now Brewster is left with Fran Lopez behind him. I imagine Fran Lopez... Oh, Victor Silva! Oh, no! Oh, they've got footage! That's going to cause mayhem! And Victor Silva just lost it. It's a Beau Rivage. And down to P7 he goes. And what this means is that David Yunt now leads this race and could very well, if he doesn't make a mistake now, he could become the first two-time winner in the WSS this season. That means Mike Bell into P2. Paul Watkins into a podium position. I don't think he got a podium in the entirety of last year. I wish I could check, but I can't because the wiki's down. Ascari Cantonen P4, though, is right behind him. And actually, he brakes really early. Oh, Paul Watkins, no, Paul. Come on. Back on track you go. And as I say, he's not going to have too many chances. And Ruud Easterbeek, look at Ruud, he's slow. Ruud Easterbeek's very slow. And is that the championship leader pulling her out? Oh, and Fran Lopez there in worries as well. Oh, dearie me. So, Ruud Easterbeek out of this race already as well. And Fran Lopez in grief as well. They must have had a coming together. So, in the space of one lap, the order has changed dramatically. Yunt now leads from Bell. Watkins just holding on to Ascari Canton. Let's stay with these two as they go into Sandomo. Here comes Canton down the inside of Watkins. And Cantonen puts Drake Racing on the podium. This is a huge event for Drake Racing. But look at Paul Watkins. He's not going to give up that easily. He's got years of experience on his shoulders. One of the oldest drivers at GPVWC. He's not able to keep Cantonen at bay though. And the Finn up. Okay, right. So confirmation that Lopez and Easterbeek wasn't contact between those two. It was contact with the silver incident. And look at Brewster now. Brewster on the inside of Watkins. That is very opportunistic of Brewster, but very, very clean as well. And he's not able to get past the old man just yet. But at the rate Watkins is going, he'll be falling behind the Englishman very quickly. Victor Silva back up into P6 with Martin Palm P7, Joseph P8, Klomp P9, Lewis Redshaw into the top 10. He's having a laugh. Ryan Walker P11, Alex Cooper P12, Strana P13, Holm P14, and Simon Melhuish is scoring a point. He's wanted to start from the back of the grid, and he is scoring a point. This is insane stuff. And also, right, we started with what, 34 runners or something. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 retirements. Almost half the field has retired here halfway through this race on lap 8 of 17. David Junt, though, he's now going on to lap 9 of 17. He leads by 1.3 seconds from Mike Bell. Canton putting away bucketloads from Paul Watkins, who's been able to gap Cameron Brewster a bit. Victor Silva behind, doing a good job to keep Martin Palm at bay, our pole sitter. Trying to score as many points for Lusitania as he can. Lewis Redshaw now up into P8 because Paul Joseph and Menno Klont have both made a mistake. So Lewis Redshaw scoring 8 points at midnight. That'd be huge. Menno in P10 with Ryan Walker not too far behind either in P11. Cooper and Strana are there as well, as is Adrian Holm. Oh, me. In fact, the only person who's not really in any sort of battle at the moment is Simon Melhuish and his teammate Carl Williams. Sven de Vries also in a bit of grief as well in P17. He's really not at the best of luck this season, and unfortunately the P2 not really a good enough consolidation for him. I'm wondering, is that gap between Canton and Bell coming down? Okay, cool. Last lap extended, right. This lap, I think it's coming down. We'll see. Canton has a very good shot. I mean, to give a team an injection of points like this could be huge. It can make or break a championship, really. And though Drake are by no means fighting for a championship, I think they could do with a bit of points. And I saw rain. I saw rain. And it is raining once again here at Monaco. Albeit very slightly. But it is raining nonetheless. 2% wetness. It's not going to affect them. And that gap between Cantonen and Bell is absolutely closing. Only 2 seconds in one lap alone. Now we'll see what Canton is made of, though. He goes on the inside. He goes on the outside of Bell, sorry. Through Beau Rivage. What about into Casino? Bell on the inside. Cantonen, can he do him around the outside here? That'd be incredible. Bell has contact at Cantonen. Can't do anything for the moment. And this is what I'm saying about Bell. He will push things to the limit. He will make contact if he needs to. But Cantonen, clearly the faster driver. The fact he caught up 2 seconds within one lap says that. Could Cantonen potentially be a race winner? Is lap 10 of 17 not completely out of the question, if you ask me? Through tunnel we go with Mike Bell and Ascari Canton, the rain seeping through the roof of the tunnel. We do apologise for that slight graphical glitch. It is simply the track map. But anyway, Bell defends from Cantonen into the Nouveau chicane, heading up into Tabac now. Canton's going to have to be a bit closer to Bell by the time we reach Anthony Modes to be able to launch and move into Saint-Devoux, because that is where he took Brewster. As he may be fancying his chances against Bell as well if he puts his car in the right position. Yunt not really getting away from these guys, only 3 seconds up the road. It's not as big as you'd expect. And Cantonen, that is pretty good. He needs a good exit, and a good exit he has. What a good exit that was from Ascari Canton. He knew exactly where he wanted to launch his car going into Sandro. We go now. Around the outside. Oh, Canton squeezing with. Oh my word, Mike Bell on 2 wheels. And that is how. Oh, Bell flashing his lights, but I don't think there was much he could have done there. Canton around the outside and into P2 he goes. If you ask me, that was all his fare in love and driving, unfortunately. And Mike Bell getting a little bit of his own medicine in the form of contact. We'll see. Oh, dearie me, what is Mike Bell doing? Or what is Ascari Canton doing? Did Ascari slow up? Let's have a look here. He did slow up. Okay, interesting. So it seems that Canton has let Mike Bell pass of his own doing, which, in my professional opinion, didn't need to be done. But it's nice to see a gentlemanly driver like Ascari Canton at least giving Bell a chance. So it's battle on all over again. And interesting, yeah, once again, Victor Silva back in P6 now. Once again providing us with a train. And his new carriages are in the form of Lewis Redshaw, Martin Palm, Paul Joseph, Menno Clont, Ryan Walker, Alex Cooper, Eric Strana there as well, Adrian Holm as well, and Simon Melhuish isn't too far behind in this battle as well. So Silva with it all to do still in this race. And look at Lewis Redshaw, he's right on the back of the Portuguese driver, isn't he? Hassling the back. Through Rascas we go as Menno Clont. Oh, what's happened to Cooper? Cooper getting a bit bunched out there. But here comes Redshaw. I imagine Victor Silva is going to hug the wall as tight as he can going on to lap 12 of 17 here. Into Sandovo we go. And Victor Silva holds on. It seems to me that Redshaw gets a better exit though. But he's just not able to do anything, is he? He can't get past on this circuit at all. No. We'll leave these two to battle, or this lot to battle. Back up at the front, Cantonen is starting to hone in on Mike Bell again. And what's worse is that he's now got Paul Watkins and Cameron Brewster for company as well. So the top 5 all separated by 7.5 seconds. And Mike Bell really starting to hold proceedings up now, just like we thought he would. The question is, can Cantonen overtake Bell in a manner where he feels happy with it? Because that was the problem last time. I thought I thought the move that Cantonen made on Bell was fair play, but Ascari clearly didn't think so. Sliding through to back there, you just see how loose Cantonen's rear end here is, and just shows how much control you have to have over these cars to be able to. And if I said, oh yeah, look at that, that was a tank slapper, wasn't it? Dear me, how on earth he's been able to save that, I do not know. That's one of the best saves. Oh, and again! It's not Jim Carter, Ascari, and oh, Joseph, where's he gone? Joseph down to P15 now, and I'm not sure who he had contact with, but he's down in P60, so that means that Motorsport Safety Foundation from the back of the grid will be scoring not 1 but 3 points now, which would be fantastic considering, well, they are safe drivers, aren't they, I guess. Cantonen once again on the back of Mike Bell. And he's got a much better exit out of Casino. He's on the inside of Hotel. And this surely has to be moved down. Cantonen on the inside. He has got it done, absolutely. Though Mike Bell comes back at him. And don't ask. Here comes Cantonen once again. I'm sure Mike Bell was crushing Cantonen into the wall. Cantonen clearly the faster driver here. Absolutely. Just hassling the back of Bell. Is that Lopez as well? Oh, but Lopez is a lap down, so Lopez isn't going to be causing too much trouble in this battle. We would hope, anyway. And yeah, just look how much slower Mike Bell is. And that's going to become dangerous driving, slowing too much on the Nouveau chicane. He's got to be careful about that. Because otherwise, if he's deemed to have... Oh, Cantonen! Surely his tyres can't have gone already. Surely. He's sliding around all over the place like a wet mullet. I mean, you see already, he's not really fallen off the back of Bell at all. still catching up to the Englishman at a rate of knots. On to lap 14 of 17 we go though. 4 more laps remaining for these guys. David Yunt romping off into the distance. He will be absolutely ecstatic with his start and his racecraft from the beginning. And as long as he doesn't make a mistake until the end now, it's pretty clear that he's going to become the first double winner of this championship. For this year at least, anyway. Oh, and Brewster. Oh, Brewster's been in trouble. Brewster's been in trouble, and he hit... Oh, yeah, that's a puncture. He hit Anthony Nodes, I'm hearing, and so... The corner, not the person Anthony Nodes. And, oh, what a shame for Brewster. He's had such a fantastic season so far. And down the order he goes, and oh, my word, almost hitting into Holm as well. And his luck has finally come to an end, unfortunately. And out of the points he goes. So Cosmo, the streak ends. And oh, Cantonen on the inside of Bell on the nouveau chicane. Oh my word, that was almost like a replica of the Perez Raikkonen incident from last year. Almost an absolute replica. Cantonen coming in and Mike Bell cutting across him. The stewards ruled it as a racing incident, so that's what we're going to have to take as... Oh my word, Cantonen. He is struggling with that car, isn't he? Really struggling. Oh my word. It's almost like he's got no rear tyres at all. He's got no rear downforce at all, has he? Let's see, going up into Sandovo now. Cantonen will no doubt try and replicate the move which he did earlier. Can't do anything, but he's going to get a better exit up the Beau Rivage. Yeah, you see, he can't find a way through. He's been hung out to dry. But here, Bell's going to go the defensive route, and Canton's going to try and get a much better launch. But Bell actually did a pretty standout job there to keep him at bay. Heading into the hotel section. And look at Paul Watkins now. Because these two are battling, Paul Watkins has been happily going about his business and has caught up to these two hand over fist. And look how much he's caught up in the hotel section alone. Paul Watkins is not out of this fight for the podium for a long way. For a long way. There's still plenty of action to go. It's only lap 15 of 17. 2.5 to go. What on earth could happen by the end of this race? It's going to be manic. Into the nouveau chicane we go with these three now. Cantonen trying his damnedest to get past Mike Bell into back. And he seems to have got the car under a bit of better control. Trying to hone it in a bit. Trying to collect himself before he attacks Mike Bell once again. Just had a little message through on from who? Yeah, so Jason Muscat. Shout out to you. Reckons Scar is running very low rear wing. I think the same. I think it's pretty obvious by this point. That said, though, the amount of laps which Cantonen has to overtake Mike Bell is running out very rapidly. Only 2 more laps to go now. And he's going to have to try something. Somewhere. Your point scorers at the moment are Yunt, now leading by 10.9 seconds. Then it's Bell and Cantonen here with Watkins. Redshaw into P5, Silver P6, Palm 7, Clont 8, Walker 9th, Cooper 10th, Strana 11th, Holm 12th, Melhuish 13th, De Vries 14th, and Kyle Williams currently occupying the last position. Your retirements: Sarpia, Heasterbeek, Bracalo, Allington, DeVos, Weeks, Lochnovsky, Canapino, Frith, Butcher, Torborg, Stroton, Van Wyck, Hamnet, and Sinky Vicious. That's a lot of retirements. But it's giving guys like Bell and Canton the chance of a lifetime, a chance to boost their team's chances in the championship. Through the Monaco tunnel we go now. One of the most iconic corners on the calendar. And into the nouveau chicane. One of the most iconic chicanes on the calendar. Yet again, Cantonen unable to do anything. Paul Watkins starting to fall away from this battle. In the background there, you see Lewis Redshaw very much on his own, having escaped Victor... No, pardon me. Having escaped Victor Silva. And Cantonen, he's going to have to do a late dive here. He clatters the wall, heading into Las Rascas once again. And oh my word! He's trying everything to get past Bell. Look at the... Oh, he's had another fantastic exit, though. He's going to try around the outside as Sandoval again. Last lap. Canton on the outside, Bell on the inside. Bell defends once again, but Canton gets a better... Oh, my word, Lopez, he's up in the air. For those guys who get the reference, well done. But Canton unable to pass Bell up the Beau Rivage into Massenet. Into Casino, and he's still not able to do anything. His low wing is really hurting him now. And I don't think he's going to be able to do it around the outside of Hotel. He's going to try and stay on the outside. Bell can't do anything, though. Or as in Canton, he can't do anything. Bell just putting his car in all the right places. And unfortunately, I think that is game over for P2. Because Bell is simply going to stick his car where Canton can't shine. Is there any last minute changes? Oh, there's contact in the back! Oh, what's happened? It's Cooper. Cooper's missing his rear wing. And De Vries as well. Not De Vries. De Vries isn't missing his rear wing, but look at this. This is nuts. Alex Cooper is essentially driving a bulk standard Porsche now. And it is going a bit bonkers at the back, but coming around Raskas. He's going to be our first double winner of the year. He won race 2 in Bahrain, and he wins race 2 here at Monaco. It's David Junt, the Swiss driver, for Smile Power. A fantastic result for David, and thrusts him once again into the championship hunt, if not the championship lead. Mike Bell, is he going to hold on? I think he is. And yes, just about Mike Bell by 1/10 from Ascari Canton, P2 and P3. Paul Watkins, great result for TWR, P4. Lewis Redshaw, P5. Have a side, sir. That's an amazing effort. Victor Silva from pole position comes home P6 ahead of Martin Palm. Menno Clont, a good result for Lusitanius. That's P6 and P7. Oh, sorry, P8, sorry. Ryan Walker, P9 for Waters. Adrian Holman, P10 for Aurora. Strana, P11 for Ice Cold. Mel Hughes, P12 from the back of the grid for Motorsport Safety Foundation. Alex Cooper, P13. Sven de Vries, P14. And Kyle Williams makes it a double MSF points scoring day with the final point. Ultimately, too many retirements to count, a lot of them. But we still had 20 finishes, which is better than the Super Cup last year, where we only had 9. So kudos to the 20 who did finish. It's going to be interesting to see how this affects the standings, though. I reckon Smile Power is going to launch up into the lead, but in terms of the other outfits like Adonis, Torrent, EGP, Cosmo, they've not done that well at all here today. I tell you what as well, Ice Cold, not a bad round for them. 25 points and 5 points from Strana, so a solid 30. That's a decent haul. But I think Small Power's going to lead the championship anyway. Wish I had the standings to tell you, but as I say, multi-technical issues prohibited us from doing that today. So we'll give you the proper standings and everything next time out in Canada. Oh, Canada. You make maple syrup and have lovely people. I'll look forward to going there next race. Right then. Andreas Waters, impressed with the Ascari drifting. I am too. I enjoyed that, it was good fun. Hashtag WSS? Anyone? Anyone? Nah, okay. So that's about it. We shall wait for interviewers, or no, not interviewers, interviewees. They fancy popping along. Will they pop along? We'll get someone. Tell you what, driver of the day, Dave. Who do you reckon? Dave says Ascari. I'd have to agree. I think, considering how poor Drake's start to the series has been, to get P3 in the end, great result. But anyway, we do have some people now, which is fantastic. And I think we'll start in chronological order. So I have Mr. Adrian Holm with me, filling in the Aurora seats for Gary Lennon. I know for a fact you don't like these cars, Adrian, but a podium and P10, not a bad day's work, especially for Monaco.
Yeah, I love Monaco. That's why I drove it. So yeah, just put a lot of practice in and managed to get my head around these. So yeah, good to get a big haul of points, but also have to big apology to Strawn and two other guys that I made a complete bonehead move into Raskas, because the guys in front of me had to check up for something, and I checked up a bit. So my immediate reaction was like the guys behind me had a huge run on us. So I took a defensive line and I thought, oh, here's a gap. And as you know, when you do a move and you realize straight away that it's not gonna move, but not gonna go your way, but too late, and yeah, damage had already been done.
Still not convinced on these cars?
Not my kind of cars, really.
We won't see you in Canada, will we?
Not. I can't say you won't, but I don't think so.
Well, it was fun while you were here, Adrian. Thank you for joining us, and well done on your podium. Well deserved, especially given how much you don't like these cars. Next up, Eric Strana. Hello.
Hello.
That wasn't a bad event, was it? Pole position, 25 points in race 1, 5 points in race 2. That puts you in a pretty good category with Small Power Racing to advance your championship challenge for the year with Ice Cold.
Yeah, just a shame I'm not gonna do all the remaining events, but yeah, I really can't complain. I thought it was gonna be a bit tougher than that. Race 1 was, yeah, I managed to get a decent lap in qualifying. I probably could have squeezed a few tenths more, but that wasn't really necessary. And then just try to control the gap to Sven as much as I can. I had a bit of a trouble with the back marker, which dropped me about 2 seconds or something, 1.5 maybe. But I still managed to hang on. And race 2, yeah, I got drilled in the first corner by someone doing 150, I think. I got spun around, and then, yeah, I can confirm that Adrian's move was a bonehead move. Yeah, that was a big crash he managed to sustain there with Allington, I think it was, sustaining most damage. But yeah, all in all, not too bad.
Indeed, and well, actually, it's a shame. So you say you're not going to take part in the majority of the races. That's a shame, because in every single WSS free practice or open practice or action event I've seen you in, I mean, you seem like you should be one of the guys who should be fighting for a championship. Is it just time constraints, which means that you can't take part?
No, I'm doing another league. But the final round of that one is in 2 weeks' time on the Wednesday. So after Canada's next or something, I don't know. I'm just missing that one, and then after that I'm set to go. At least I think so.
It'll be fascinating to see whether you can catch up with the guys in front. Absolutely. Well done for your race win. Well done for your 11th as well in race 2. Good points on the board for Ice Cold.
Thank you.
And now on to our first double winner of the year, or at least winner of 2 races of the year, David Yunt. Now, I remember you were telling me, David, that your race win in Bahrain was a very nice surprise and you weren't really expecting it. I'm trying to remember all the point scores here. I'm pretty sure you lead the championship now.
Again,
yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, when I took into consideration that Chris wasn't there at Barcelona, I was technically the first car going into the round, and then I had that bad luck, and I lost many valuable points. That's made me a bit, well, feeling a bit down. But I thought Monaco, it was gonna be a special strategy for me anyway. On purpose not being at the front of the field, but I did know that I had a bit of a tough time with Monaco as it's such a narrow track. I managed some okay practice, but my qualifying time was far from any good laps I could have done. 1 second too slow, at least 5/10 from what I could have done. So 16th, and well, I had coming together with Cameron, unluckily, but I managed to get going without too much damage like with Barcelona. And so I picked up some points, gained P12 on the reverse grid. I thought, yeah, I have to have a good start because I was actually looking for that to get a good position. And that's what happened. I had a great start up to second, even past Mike, and then I was just hounding Victor and trying to force him to a mistake without going beyond my limits and crashing into him. And then he got loose at I think Massenet, and I was just braking, turning, and I thought, oh, where I'm gonna go? I hopefully didn't spin into much. I had a bit damage, but I managed to pass. And from then on, it was keeping the car on the road. And yeah, well, I managed to do that. And I'd say, yeah, it was a good race tonight. And again, more than I would have think of because somebody said you win one race in Monaco. I said, no, I wouldn't. I'm gonna go finish on the podium. So yeah, it was one of the best races. I'm very happy to win at Monaco.
Do you think that it was that initial getaway in race 2, getting past Mike Bell, which essentially gifted you your victory?
I'd say so because it's very hard to overtake here. I mean, I spent the first race behind Ilya and Cameron Brewster, and I didn't wanted to find a way past. I couldn't really even trying to pass Victor at the heaven. That was even it looked like the ping. I didn't really dare to do that, so I tried other places. So I think the initial start, having a better start and passing 3 cars, that was, I think, the most important thing. Yeah.
Well, a great result. Smile Power definitely coming away from Monaco in a very healthy position. Well done. You're our first 2-time race winner of the year.
Thank you, James. Thank you.
Then on to Mike Bell. Decent results for you.
Yeah, very. Race 1, I'm actually surprised I got to the end, given the amount of damage I sustained on the way to the first corner, and then got lucky with a reverse grid, and then race 2 was awesome.
I mean, it's a pretty scrappy battle between yourself and Ascari. Great stuff to watch on the broadcast, especially when you went 2 wheels in the air when Ascari went around the outside of you in Saint-Devoux. Ultimately, though, he let you back through. From my opinion, at least, debatable, very gentlemanly of him. But what can you say? I mean, the Bell train in effect once again, and I'm guessing for you, especially Monaco, must be a place which you absolutely love to come to, where there's hardly any place to overtake as it is, let alone trying to get past you.
Actually, Monaco is one of my least favourite tracks.
Is it really?
The GPVWC is going to, yeah, because I just, for whatever reason, haven't been able to put a race together here before. I always put it in the wall or something dumb, but yeah, Ascari gifted me back that position, which was very nice of him. Otherwise, I'd have come 3rd for definite, and maybe David wouldn't have won. And obviously, if David wouldn't have won, that's my team that wouldn't have won. So,
of course,
very happy
yes.
that he gave me the place back.
It's all about interpolitics and everything. So, of course, Mike, unless you didn't know, Smile Power team boss, and crazy times. But actually, I'll tell you what, for the team that you're driving for, Mazurek, a really nice points boost. What are Mazurik's goals for this season, or do you have any?
I think me and Rico are just going out and trying our best. I mean, he was incredibly unlucky in race 1. He was ahead of me, and I think he had one of the TWRs in between us. And he got out of shape going through the swimming pool, so he'd have definitely got into points in race 1 if it weren't for that. So unfortunate that put him out of the race, and then that made him start way back in the grid, and he was out relatively early. I have no idea what happened to him, but it was bad luck for him in race 1, and that cost him in race 2.
I'll tell you what, with half the grid retiring, it's pretty hard to account for what happened to everybody. But anyway, for you at least, a very good result. Not just for yourself, but for your team also. Congratulations on your first podium of the year, I believe.
I got
second?
given the one at Barcelona after post penalties. So
the first
my
truly
first
on podium.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
And equal in my best GPV result for 2nd place. So
Only the win left.
Happy with that, yeah.
I wonder if you can get it. We'll find out anyway later in the season. Thank you very much, Mike. And then finally, Ascari, the other half of that fantastic battle in race 2. Hey, Drake Racing finally off the board. What a fantastic round that was for you lot.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Was it P3 and P9 and P7? It was a shame that Harley crashed out in race 2, but that's a good chunk of points, and no doubt will have thrust you into the midfield battle.
Yeah, I hope so. I really don't like these cars, but I seem to be pretty decent in Monaco usually, so I'm happy I got this result.
So I guess the question is, are you a bit worried going back to the normal circuits, if you want to call them that? I mean, we've got the likes of Canada coming up in 2 weeks' time. Is it just going to be see where you can be next time, or do you have expectations of getting points, or indeed do you have expectations of not scoring points there?
Well, top 10 is mostly the how do you say?
Is the ultimate aim.
Yeah, always. But Canada should be good for me also. It's quite similar to Monaco in certain ways. Of course, there's more straights to pass, but
You're gonna
also
have to
close.
Yeah. You're gonna have to point out those similarities to me later,
Oscari.
Oscari.
Yeah, also close and slow corners. That's pretty
slow
much
corners.
it.
Okay,
And
I'll give you that.
braking is important.
Yes,
that's my strong point. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Look at you educating the commentator. Gonna have to switch jobs one day. But anyway, well done on your podium, Oscari. Great
Thanks.
job.
I want to congratulate Mike Bell. It's very good driving from him. Thanks for that battle. Amazing.
So lovely, isn't it? So lovely when we have people not being angry after races. I tell you what, you, the people at home, you shouldn't be angry at all. Lots of great stuff coming up on GPVWC next week. It is the Monaco Grand Prix week. Formula Challenge on Tuesday. Super Cup on Wednesday, followed by the Monaco Grand Prix on Thursday. Then it's to Adelaide for the ITC the Monday after. And then, if you don't like any of them, I guess you could just join us in 2 weeks' time. We'll be heading to the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Montreal is going to be a cracking race, and after the madness of Monaco, will things reset to normal there? I'd just like to thank my cameraman for this evening once again, Dave Carr-Smith, for being there, giving the banter, giving the opinions, being your guide, both visually and mentally, for this evening. I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, it's a very warm goodbye.